Oh, hey guys, Bipolar Barbie here, and today I wanted to talk about low self esteem, I guess you would call it. Like, I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's really hard to describe. It's a feeling, it's a state of being. It's horrible. It's sort of it's everything. It's that little nagging voice in your head that tells you that you might as well not even try because you will never be good enough, that you are worthless. That voice that laughs at you, that persona in your mind that tells you that you're pathetic, that you're weak, that you're everything that you're so terrified of being. It's a fear of failure. It's a fear of never being good enough. It's overwhelming feelings of inadequacy that completely cripple your ability to function. For me, I guess it's not necessarily like a symptom of any particular illness, although it is a symptom of borderline personality disorder, but it's just something that I've battled with my whole life, I think, but particularly sort of post law school, post high school, when I started failing and when I started getting really, really sick, there was all of this fuel being added to the fire. You know, the argument of was I good, was I bad, was I worthy, was I unworthy? There was a lot more weight being put on that kind of failure, unworthy, not successful scale. I had a lot of ammunition to convince myself. I think people forget when they talk about borderline personality disorder is they think it's all sort of about relationships and boyfriends and girlfriends and partners, but it really does affect your relationships. But we don't often think of the most important relationship a person can have is the relationship with themselves. And that is, what borderline personality disorder really is about, is the relationship that you have with yourself. Because it's broken. It's very unhealthy. And it's no wonder that I think I let myself be abused by others, because I abuse myself. Why? Because of this underlying belief that I am not good enough, that I will never be good enough. And I don't know why it's so hard to convince myself that I am good enough. I don't know. I think it's not even necessarily like a voice inside my head. I mean, if it was a voice, I could reason with it. If it was a voice, I could talk to it. If it was a voice, I could challenge it. If it was like a thought, but it's an emotion. It's a state of being. It's like everything. It's the sinking feeling in my stomach, that makes my stomach heavy. It stops me from being able to breathe properly. I start breathing really shallow, and I feel like I'm not getting enough air into my lungs. I feel my heart beating out of my chest. And yeah, it's kind of like anxiety, but it's like living in a state of nervousness, just a state of fear. And it's kind of hard because it's like, what am I afraid of? I'm afraid of failing. And for me, I mean, that kind of translates to being afraid to live. Because otherwise you're just surviving. And if you're not living, I just kind of, what's the point? I guess kind of, then I start feeling really guilty. I start feeling really guilty that I don't deserve to feel like that I'm not allowed to feel like that. And that is fueled by people who tell me I'm not allowed to feel like that. People who tell me that I'm attention seeking because I have low self-esteem. People who tell me that I'm not allowed to have self-worth issues because they see the value in me. And it's like, just because someone else sees value in you doesn't necessarily mean you see value in yourself. It can. It definitely can when it's come from like a very significant person in your life. You know, I know the value that if my parents had seen value in me, then they could have helped me see value in myself. So I do know that other people's value of you and how they see you really does impact who you are as a person, really does impact the way that you see yourself, by the way others tell you that they see you. But sort of once the damage is done, it's not easily repaired. It really isn't. It's actually really hard when, I guess, you've been devalued at such a young age that your default programming is that you're worthless. And that is something that you spend every single day fighting against, not just publicly, but privately. And you have to fight it. You really do. And I'm committed to fighting it because I've never wanted anything as much as the things that I want right now. And I'll be damned if I let fear take that away from me. If I let this alter ego, this, I don't even know what you want to call it, this like disease inside of me, this cancer that just festers and infiltrates every cell in my being, it just spreads. I will not let that control me because it has for so long and I'm fucking over it. But every time it happens, which is multiple times a day, it is, I just switch from one to the other, like, yeah, I can do it. I'm confident, I'm good. Yep, I can do this. You know, that positive self-talk is working. And then sometimes it just, or frequently, it comes crashing down. And I feel weak. I feel hollow. I feel like, what's the point in trying to achieve my dreams if I'm going to fail and I'm never going to achieve them? But one thing that I've learned, and this is the most life-changing advice I've probably ever come across, and that is that my fear, for example, is failing. My fear is never achieving my dreams. My fear is never being good enough. And the default coping mechanism to that is that I just don't try, that I give up. I avoid it. It's like, well, no one can judge me and no one can tell me I'm not good enough if I don't try to do anything. That doesn't work. One, you get nowhere in life and you actually achieve nothing, which in turn actually makes your greatest fear come true. So my lack of action, when I get that nervous tension within me and just prevents me from doing anything, and I just hover around like a little fly, just too scared to touch anything because I'm scared I'll just watch it die right in front of me, is basically killing myself inside. So I remind myself of that every time I feel like going, you know what, fuck it all, I'm just gonna give it all up. Why bother trying? I'm just gonna hide. I'm gonna be as insignificant as possible. I'm just never gonna do anything, and that way no one can judge me, because you know what, people are gonna judge you anyway, and you're gonna be judging yourself even more, because then you'll be judging yourself on the fact that you are so weak. You are letting this kick your ass, and that persona, that voice in your head will just taunt you and just keep. It's like, it's not even a devil on my shoulder, because the devil would be cool and I would hang out with him. It's like this evil version of myself, this little girl that is just broken and crying. But it's really hard. I just stopped the video because someone had this ridiculous noise outside, because the pump is like next to my door, like because we have tank water. And then I went inside. My mom said that there was Nutella cheesecake in the fridge. So it's kind of fitting because now I really want to just like drown my sorrows in chocolate cake. Nothing wants to as well. He's not getting any. I guess, I don't know, I just want more cake now. No. No. I said, wait. I don't know.